World Rugby set to trial further law changes ahead of 2027 World Cup. World Rugby chair Brett Robinson has confirmed that additional law trials are likely to be introduced before the 2027 Rugby World Cup, as the sport's governing body continues its push to make the game faster and more appealing to fans. With the World Cup in Australia now less than 2 years away, any law amendments must be finalized by the start of the new Nations Championship in July 2026. That deadline leaves World Rugby with a narrow window to test, review, and lock in changes ahead of the global showpiece. Since the 2023 Rugby World Cup in France, World Rugby has already implemented a raft of adjustments. These include the introduction of shot clocks for set pieces and goal kickers, the removal of scrum options from free kicks, and the rollout of the controversial 20-minute red card. All of the changes fall under the broader aim of speeding up the game and improving the spectator experience. Too much senseless kicking. Despite some progress, Robinson believes the sport still faces fundamental challenges. Speaking on the Rugby Unity podcast alongside Eddie Jones and David Pembroke, the former Wallabies captain explained that fan feedback has been central to World Rugby's post-2023 reforms. After the 2023 World Cup, we did a lot of work listening to our fans, Robinson said. The research showed there were a few things really frustrating people. Too much senseless kicking, laws and game management that weren't encouraging attack, and far too much dead time. He added that while improvements have been made, not all objectives have been met. There have been wins, shot clocks, efforts to remove dumb and senseless actions like uncontested, not straight line-out throws. But there are still big challenges fundamentally, he said. Robinson also acknowledged the resistance encountered around the introduction of the 20-minute red card, particularly from parts of the Northern Hemisphere. That one was really frustrating because it took much longer than it should have. Some of our friends in the North needed time to better understand it. North-South divide, slowing progress. Robinson highlighted growing frustration at the contrasting philosophies between Northern and Southern Hemisphere rugby, which he believes are slowing innovation and confusing fans. Using the TMO as a prime example, he pointed to differing views on how much influence off-field officials should have during matches. There are two very different perspectives from the North and the South about the role of the TMO, he explained. Some of the trials we've seen this year haven't worked, and we've acknowledged that. World Rugby will now conduct a formal review of the TMO and fourth official systems over the Christmas period. The review will be led by outgoing New Zealand Rugby Chief Executive Mark Robinson, who will chair an independent panel tasked with challenging existing processes. The referee must remain in charge of the game, Robinson said. That primacy hasn't always been clear, and it's led to confusion about who's really making decisions. That isn't working. With law changes needing to be locked in by mid-2026, Robinson stressed the urgency of resolving these issues. If we don't do it by June or July next year, we simply can't change it any later than a year out from a World Cup. Southern Hemisphere driving innovation. Robinson praised Australia and New Zealand, particularly Super Rugby Pacific, for their willingness to trial new ideas, contrasting that with greater resistance in Northern Hemisphere competitions. I don't think we're moving at a good pace, he admitted. There's a cultural problem in the game. We try to move the whole world together, and that's incredibly difficult. Among the current trials are measures aimed at reducing scrums caused by technical infringements, allowing quicker taps from free kicks even if players are slightly off the mark, and tweaks to the 50:22 law to further stretch defensive lines and encourage attacking play. These are the kinds of small, frustrating moments that slow the game down and annoy fans, Robinson said. We want speed and flow. He emphasized that meaningful change often originates at competition level. We rely on unions and competitions to trial ideas. That's how innovation happens, he added. Historically, the Southern Hemisphere has led this because of competition from other sports like Rugby League and AFL. That pressure forces evolution. As World Rugby looks ahead to 2027, Robinson made it clear that further experimentation is not just likely, but necessary, provided the sport can overcome its internal divides and move decisively within the shrinking time frame.